Hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Carlene.
And I'm Jay. We are also known as Jaylene.
On this channel, we recap and provide our reviews for Married at First Sight.
Tonight we'll be reviewing Season 16, Episode 1, Marry Me in Tennessee.
Please subscribe and click the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. Okay, so we're going to start off with Kirsten and Shaquille. So in the beginning of the episode, each couple went individually to their family and friends to share the news that they were getting married. So Kirsten told her mom and her other family and friends that she was getting married. She talked about picking over everything, including men. She has high standards of herself, and that's why she expects the same from her partner. So she gave her unrealistic list of the things that she wanted in her future partner. So she's 32, right? And she hasn't found these things. Why does she think that the experts, and I'm using the quotation marks, would find it for her? Going through this process, you need to have an open mind. Yes, there should be, some non-negotiables. There should be some things that she's like, no, I'm not budging on this, but it sounds like it's her way or the highway.
Yeah, she's the wrong type of person to be on this show, I believe, with all that long list that she has. She reminds me of someone who was on The Real World back in the 90s. And they had this long list of this person needs to have this, that, and the other, and they have to have that at all times, no matter what, or it's a no. I feel the same thing for her. So by her having this long list, I can already tell you this is not going to work. That's my spidey sense is telling me it's not going to work. I would think, I would hope, if you're going to go through this process, you would at least do the research and watch previous seasons to know you can't be that picky, and you do need an open mind to go through this process.
Oh, and maybe she thinks if she keeps saying it, because it's almost like she has it rehearsed. I think she had it for so long. This is what she's looking for. So she keeps saying it over and over again that somehow this perfect man is just going to appear.
God's not going to bless her like that. You can't put that into the universe and think that's going to happen. That's not how God works. Well, I guess.
Well, Kirsten admits that she doesn't really give the person that she's dating a chance. So she's hoping that during this process, she's able to open her heart and mind to do so. She tells her family and friends how she wants to be married because everyone else around her, they found love already. And you can tell that her mom was really happy and very emotional for her.
Yeah, but something she said here in this party episode than when she met with the ladies. And she said something completely different. So I'm like, which one is it? Are you talking for the cameras or are you talking for the ladies? Which one is it?
So Shaquille told his friends that he was getting married, and it was the longest pause ever. I guess no one knew that he was actually going through this process. Just like Kirsten, education is very important to him. He's looking for commitment first, and then he'll make the adjustments after. So that explains the process of Married at First Sight perfectly. Shaquille told his friends that he prayed for this, and he's tired of being alone.
I can see why he's single, because based on his job, he has to move around a lot, or he chooses to move around a lot based on what he's doing for a living. And I want to know if he decides to get another job that's not in the same state that he's in right now, is his wife going to move with him? That's a concern for me. Is that something they're going to talk about? That's something that went off. He kept saying he's been moving around just because he's in this field.
Yeah, definitely a conversation would need to happen, but I think it was easier for him to move around so much because he was single. Now he is getting married and he would need to take his wife's, she already has a job and things like that. So obviously they would have to talk about it if he decides to move, to another state for employment. The next couple, Domynique and Mackinley. So Domynique reminded her friends of the process and how they would actually have to start limiting their time, their girls' night, and their girls' outing. And one of her friends already was like, well, if he doesn't allow you to go out, you need to get a divorce. So she isn't even married yet, and this is what her friends are saying.
That just tells me, one, you're not mature, and then two, your friends are not mature. So in this process, I don't even know why she even told them like that to begin with. But if you're telling tell your friend, if he doesn't allow you to go out, I'm gonna make you get a divorce. That tells me everything I need to know that you're a party person.
However, they were so excited when she told them when she was getting married. So in her confessional, Domynique talked about her mom signing her up for the process, and then she actually called her mom for input. So she asked her mom to talk about past relationships that Domynique had, and her mom was like, Domynique was ready for relationships, but the guys that she were dating, they weren't ready. Okay, just because she's ready for a relationship doesn't mean that she's ready for marriage. Also, her mom wants the experts to find a man that's outside of her box or outside of her circle. And Domynique reminded us that she did decide to go through with this process.
Yeah, that very last part, decided to go through with this process. That's not telling me she wants it, and it doesn't seem like she wants it, which we will find out in the show later.
So Mackinley is staying with his friend's family since he relocated, and they were excited when he told them that he was getting married. He's the youngest of three, and his parents have actually been married for 45 years. The last person that Mackinley was with actually got engaged to someone else while they were still together. Of course, this caused him heartache. Mackinley wants to be everything that his new wife wants him to be. So I think it's good that he wants to please his future wife, but I hope he doesn't lose himself or his happiness in this process.
There has to be more to that story because he's told a little bit about it on the after party, and there's had to be something missing there because he was stating that the woman he was with, they just hooked up the day before. Now she's at the new guy's house and texting him that she's engaged and showing him the ring, and he's thinking, well, that's the ring you want. She's like, no, I'm engaged. And that would confuse me too. I couldn't understand it. Has to be a lot more to that story that he's not telling. I know that can be shattering, heartbreaking, and stuff like that, but it has to be more to that story. But I can see why he wants to get married and stuff like that. But I just feel they matched him with the wrong person. And I hate when they have someone who's ready for the process, but they bring someone else who's not mature, not old enough to meet this guy halfway at least. And I'm sure we're going to find that out during the season as well.
Yeah, so the experts know that Domynique is looking for an older guy, and they believe that her adventurous side will bring out Mackinley's shyness. So they're always looking for these couples to work miracles.
It's one thing to bring opposites that attract, but usually shy people, once you get to know them, they will open up. That shyness, you wouldn't even know that they were shy. Because, like, I know when, I think Airris kind of explained it himself later on, that when you meet someone, yeah, they're shy. But if you go around their family and you say that about that person, they're like, no, he ain't, or no, she ain't. So shy people do open up. They just have to get comfortable around them. I'm just speaking from experience.
Next couple, Nicole and Chris. So Nicole invited her three friends to a restaurant to share the news, and two of the three were shocked. One was even looking around like he was waiting to be told that Nicole was joking about getting married. She wants support from her friends, which is understandable. So in her confessional, Nicole talked about being FBI, fully blown Italian, and how it comes out sometimes. She referred to her dog as her baby and how they are both Libras. Nicole wants to do this process because she paints red flags green and stayed longer in relationships than she should have. So she is fully hopeful about this process.
This is the right person for this process, but her friend's reaction was priceless. Priceless. I'm like, close your mouth. You heard what she just said, but it was hilarious nonetheless. But I like Nicole. Not only she'll be entertaining for the show, but she's in it for the right reasons. And she's very optimistic and positive. And I like those type of people who are on this show. You can tell that they're in the right mindset for this show.
Chris' friend Bo had the same reactions like Nicole's friends, so he was shocked too. So Chris talked about being a hopeless romantic and selfless, and he's looking for his forever person and doesn't want to get a divorce like his parents. So the experts believe that Chris will be the nice guy that Nicole needs that would love her, and Nicole would bring that fun and goofiness that Chris is looking forward to. I just hope that their dogs get along.
Oh yeah, we don't want a repeat of last season with Alexis and Justin. So that's the first thing I'm looking at when they have those dogs meet. I'm like, ooh, is one of them going to attack? Killer alert! Killer alert!
Let's talk about Jasmine and Airris. So Airris invited his family and friends to a restaurant to tell them that he was getting married, and they just laughed. I mean, they laughed like he was a really good comedian or he was just telling jokes. Then they started clowning him, saying that he was the last one to be picked because he's so picky.
Oh, that was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. They reminded me of my relatives. Because, like, especially the cousin. Because they know him so well that he shouldn't be on this show. And again, I feel he was recruited because if you look at the matchmaking special, he had no clothes in his closet. None. And then they said his mom sometime pack his clothes or fold his clothes or whatever the case may be. But you go to the living room, which I forgot to mention on the last video, it was staged. And I don't know any man that has pillows all over his couch. Most that's a woman thing. So that leads me to believe he was recruited for this show. So I don't know if they're going to work. I have to see how they interact together. But I would be dying laughing too if I'm one of his relatives.
In his confessional, Aries talked about being vulnerable in a relationship in his late 20s, but it backfired. So he was used to ghosting others, but in this particular relationship, he was ghosted. Well, at least he knows how it feels. As a result, he spent the next decade of his life with his guard up. So he's looking for someone to elevate him. And yeah, his cousin did have a lot to say how he shouldn't be getting married. I can understand his cousin's concerns, especially if Aries hasn't been in a committed relationship, but he's grown and will make his own decisions. Jasmine had her family ready to share the news, and that they were so excited when she told them she was getting married at first sight. Jasmine feels that she's in a good place in her life and is looking for someone who wants to be committed and married. So she admitted to not making time in her past relationships. And I believe she thinks that this process will change that. Unlike Aries, Jasmine had been in several long-term relationships, but they just didn't end up in marriage.
Her family reaction, I thought it was going to be the exact opposite of what it was. I thought they were going to say, are you out of your mind? What are you doing? But they were very supportive, which I like that, especially from a black family, because they like to tear you down. But that was nice to see. Just concerned about the match, because she's in it and she wants it. Airris, I don't know, just because. No clothes in the closet. What man don't have no clothes in his closet?
Gina and Clint. So Gina's mom was excited when she shared the news. In her confessional, Gina shared how she likes to be spontaneous, and her ex boyfriend broke up with her because their lives didn't align. She is career driven, and she poured that heartbreak into her career. So Gina's mom was concerned if she would have enough time for marriage because of her business, but Gina wants this to work, so I hope that she will.
I believe she'll make time. Going through this process is a lengthy process, and the women usually want this more than the men. So I think once she gets her feet up under herself, get the new business up and going with the building, she'll make time for Clint. Clint, he's a busybody, so I think on paper they're good because they like have things in common as far as being adventurous, going out, doing stuff. But will they clash? That's my thing. So I can't wait to see how they interact when they first meet each other.
Clint told his friends that he was getting married, and they were happy for him. Clint calls himself a professional life liver, and he wants his significant other to go out on the water with him. He talked about his ex-girlfriend, and I believe she thought that she was changing too much for him. Now we're going to get into the girls and guys meeting up. This is the first time that they get to meet each other and really talk about, how they're feeling going into this process. So I thought it was very interesting when the girls kept trying to see what they had in common, like most of the girls being from Nashville. Then Jasmine said that she was 32 and it was actually her birthday. And then Kirsten was like, I'm 32. And Nicole was like, I'm 32 too. And then Domynique was like, well, I'll be 26 in August. And since Gina was the eldest, she was like, I would be the mother. When asked, what are you looking for? Kirsten tried to shorten her list, but included good looks and being all in.
You forgot one thing that she said that was very important. I guess she was being generous now, being in front of the ladies. She was like, told Dr. Pepper she wants the dude that they pick for her from, let me get this right, she wanted him to have 7 to 8 inches of girth and stuff like that. And then around the ladies, she shortened it to 6 to 7 inches. So why are you changing your preference now? What's going on there? So if that's so important to you, but didn't she say that she wants a man who's nice and kind and caring and all that stuff? But I didn't hear all that beforehand, meeting with the ladies. I didn't hear none of that. But when I go to church every Sunday, that's fine and dandy because you guys got that in common. But this 7 to 8 inches he has to have, blah 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 blah, bothers me because if he doesn't have that, are you going to still throw him out with bathwater? Just saying.
Maybe she just shortened the list because she didn't want to go on and on and on and wanted to give the other ladies a chance to speak.
Blasphemy.
So then Nicole talked about how she can talk and wants someone to match her. She also mentioned a safe word. So her safe word would be pineapple. Didn't Lindsay have like a button for Mark the Shark? So I hope that Nicole stop when, Chris uses this word. Not if, but when he uses the word pineapple. I hope that she'll calm down and stop and be able to allow him to talk.
Well, Nicole comes off as more respectful than Lindsay. If she likes Chris, I think she will go by whatever secret phrase they want to use. I'm sure it won't be pineapple since she already released that out there to the girls. So I'm sure it'll be something else. But if she likes him, I think she'll respect his decision. Like, okay, we ain't talking no more. Stop. Close your mouth.
Domynique wasn't even thinking about marriage. She wanted to just spend time with her girls, going out to bachelorette parties. And then Jasmine talked about wanting kids. And when she gets baby fever, she gets a dog. And currently she has 4 dogs. So I thought the guys seemed to hit it off well. Mackinley and Shaquille talked about wanting to be fathers. And just like his wife, Kirsten's high expectations, Shaquille is looking for his wife to be a 10 out of 10, and Mackinley is looking for a 7 out of 10.
McKinley has more of the right idea. Everyone wants their spouse or the person they're with to be attractive. That's a given. But you want someone who's a 10 out of 10. One, are you a 10 out of 10? That's like you should want what you are. Pretty much like don't outshoot your coverage. I'm just saying, or don't outpunt your coverage. So Shaquille, one is probably why they're matched because they're egos, but that's telling me that this relationship will not work. I think I should call this right now. It will not work. It's gonna blow up. Yeah, it's gonna blow up. I want to say dumpster fire, but I don't know if it's gonna get that bad. But we'll see.
Chris wants someone who is funny, and Clint, he just wants someone to like his friends and his activities.
The last thing that the men and women talked about was the last time they had sex. This is always a production-led question because you're not going to discuss your sex life with anyone you just met. That makes no sense to me. And then Clint and Airris, they both would have sex, 2 weeks, a day or so before they got the notice that they're going to be on the show. And then, for whatever reason, I feel, again, that's why Airris was recruited. Chris had the more the right idea, saying like, yeah, I've had women give me their number, but I didn't want to pursue that just in case I get picked. Airris seems like a player, because he said he was a player back in the day, but I don't like them asking people that question. I know it's just for the show, but we don't need to know that information. That can just be kept in-house.
Now on to the Bachelor and Bachelorette parties. Domynique nominated herself for spending too much time with the strippers. Jasmine wasn't really feeling the stripper scene and wanted to just be with her husband. Kirsten, Gina, and Nicole, they were really enjoying their time.
This looked like it was a sex party. Who are we kidding? This is probably the highlights of the episode. Nicole doing body shots. Gina like she about to get busy. Kirsten, I don't know what that is, but do you want your kids to see this when you have them? And then Domynique, that just tells the story right there. She ain't ready for this process because she was talking to this stripper. I think when the Bachelorette Party was coming to an end, and the girls are looking at her like, "Are you trying to get his number or give him your number when you about to get married?" So this just tells me she's not even in the right frame of mind of getting married. Yeah, the other ladies are having fun and stuff like that, but Domynique, my spider sense is tingling. So it just don't sit right with me. And I didn't put any pictures of other guys because that was a snooze fest, so that was nothing to see.
At the bachelor party, Chris showed that he is very dedicated to this process. And when he found out that he was picked, he made sure that he stayed on the straight and narrow. Airris wasn't shy to admit that he put his dating app on snooze. All I could think of was Olajuwon. Remember that big scene that he made? Then I thought of Miguel telling Lindy he'll just try it out for 8 weeks to see if it'll work or not. So is Airris fully ready for marriage?
No.
So it's the wedding day. Kirsten and Shaquille, they're the first one to walk down the aisle. But before we get to that part, let's talk about them getting ready. Kirsten was getting ready with her family and friends. She shared how she prayed to like her future husband, and she hopes to be attracted to him. Kirsten continued to call her mom. She kept calling her mom. The phone seemed like it was disconnected, and then eventually her mom did show up. She knew it would look bad if neither parent showed up. So her dad already made up his mind that he wasn't going to take a COVID test, so he wasn't going to attend, but she really needed her mom to be present.
I felt her mom being MIA was just for the cameras because she was in the hotel the whole time. So I didn't understand that part. That need to be on the show. But the her dad not showing up because he won't take a COVID test, it wouldn't kill you to take a COVID test, but that tells me he doesn't think that this marriage is going to work, and she's wasting her time. So I wouldn't want to show up either if I know my daughter and it ain't going to work with her high standards and her pickiness. So he's like, when she really gets married to someone she cares about, then I'll show up. That's how I took it.
Kirsten talked about liking men with a low haircut, and she couldn't picture herself with a bald man.
Doesn't that remind you of Mirla and Gil from the Houston season? Same exact thing. I don't like a bald man, blah, blah, blah. If you know anything about the show, they don't give you what you want. They don't care about what you want.
Shaquille was with his family and friends as he was getting ready. He is ready to be a proud husband and talked about how he prayed for this. His groomsmen were clowning him about his time management skills. So supposedly he has a difficult time being on time, but he made sure that he woke up early for this.
We're going to see how much you pray for this when you meet your wife. And let's see if that same tune is being sung.
Before walking out, Shaquille was very emotional, and I like how the groomsmen gathered around him for support. Also, he was able to meet with his grandmother before walking down the aisle.
So after seeing the grandmother, after watching the after party, when he saw that clip, he started bawling, and something said to me that she must have passed because the way he was crying, the way he looked, and it turned out she really passed. And that was the last time he saw his grandmother, so that was touching. That was sad to see.
Kirsten looked like she wanted to run before walking down the aisle. She hopes her future husband asked if he could kiss her. She already told her crew if she wasn't feeling him, she would allow him to kiss her on the cheek instead of on the lips.
Yeah. That tells me everything I need to know, miss. I want a nice guy, this, that, and the other. But all she wants is a football player. It's pretty much what she wants.
The episode ended before they actually met at the altar, but in the previews for next week, it looked like Kirsten gave Shaquille her ear to kiss because she didn't want to kiss him on the lips. We just have to wait and see how it pans out. You know that she asked for specifics, low haircut, athletic build. And remember, Shaquille shared in the episode earlier of his car accident and how he turned to academics because he couldn't play sports. Well, that's all we have for episode 1. What are your thoughts? We love to hear from you. Put your thoughts in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos.
Later, everyone.
Bye.